Hello, welcome back to another episode of Radio 22's Talk 22, show hosted by me, your boy Mizzle Jizzle. We back yet again, bringing you the conversations that you want to talk about, and we hitting you with none but the real. I want to thank everybody for joining, coming back. We're back on it with a new day. Many of y'all used to seeing us on Tuesday nights. We trying to switch it up, do a little something different now. Here we are Sunday night. We want to wish all the fathers out there, notorious dad, you said. We want to wish y'all happy Father's Day. Salute to y'all out there. We see a lot of fathers. We got fathers in the chat even here, holding it down as we speak. We appreciate them for it. But yeah, we just want to touch bases and bring it back and bring you the conversations that you want to talk about, like we always do. And I've been out on vacation, y'all. And when I was out on break, I got to see quite a few things across Wisconsin, across the country, just everywhere. And I'm kind of seeing some similar situations pop off. And one of the things I come to notice is in a lot of areas, it comes to be that when it comes to employment, we're not seeing full employment back yet again. We know that employment got pulled because of COVID times and everything, and a lot of things got shut down and people lost their jobs and whatnot. But as now businesses are starting to adjust and bring businesses back, they're back, but they're not at full capacity, even with the COVID numbers dropping, just due to the fact that they can't find employees to fill those spots now that they once did. A lot of times, maybe for one reason, it might be for another, but we're going to talk about it. And I appreciate y'all for joining the program today. So I got my heavy hitters to help me join the program today and help me speak on it. Out of the Iowa area, I got the homie Larry. Larry, want to thank you for joining the program. We see you holding it down with the fatherhood role. Can you say what's up to the people?
Hello, hello.
What's good? See, what's been going on? We know that you got a book dropping, and what else you got going on?
Yeah, I'm working on two books this summer. I'm finishing up a parenting book, value-based parenting. I'm supposed to be finishing that. I was supposed to be finishing up that a long time ago, but it's almost done. So value-based parenting, and then I have a relationship counseling book that I'm going to be working on this summer as well, or finishing up. So yeah, uh, yeah, just keeping busy.
Well, we
Yeah.
appreciate you for joining the program, Larry. As
hmm
well, out of the Illinois area, we got the homie Stan. Stan Perry's on the line. Stan, can you say what's up to the people,
Yo,
please?
yo, yo, yo.
Stan,
That's how you know it's real when you say it three times.
yeah, Stan is always into so much, and we appreciate him for joining the program as well. You may see him in the Milwaukee area. You may see him in Illinois. You never know. He's doing so much, and we appreciate him for joining the program. Also on the line, out of the Madison area, now we got the homie Dash Dub. You
What's
say
going
what's up
on,
to the people.
everybody? What's up? What's up? This should be a great conversation.
Yes, we thank you for joining the program as well, Dash. Dash, owner of Radio 22. For those who do not know, we appreciate him for joining the program as well. Okay, so we're just gonna jump right into it. Being that we just lost so much time and not being on the air for so long, but I'm gonna jump into it and ask Stan. I'm gonna start with you and ask you: do you believe that finding employees and good employees, that is this a rare find these days?
Okay, it's going to be based off of. Oh, there's a lot of contributing factors to employee being good.
Yeah.
So, like, I remember when I did my job interview when I was living up north, the guy was like, "Can you tell me something about your life?" I was like, "Well, I just had a baby, my first kid, and I'm trying to find a job so I could pay for the kid." The interviewer smiles and was like, "That's great." And I was thinking, why was he so happy? He was happy because he was like, "Oh, you're stuck here forever. You're going to be a good employee because you have responsibilities that are local." So that would make somebody a good employee if they feel like they need the job.
Mm,
So I could see that being how somebody could deem somebody a good employee, because I don't know anybody in their right mind that really wants to work for a company. unless the company's like overcompensating them financially, which is going to be something hard to find unless you're like, it depends on your education level. Like if you don't have an education, making $15 an hour is like making $1 million an hour. But like, let's say that you're in a doctorate program, or you got your PhD, or you have your master's, making $15 an hour feels like slave labor. So is it easy? I think with the pandemic making everything like remote, it's easy to get good employment, just not where you live at.
Okay. Well, we appreciate that and respect your thoughts on that. We're gonna go next to Larry and find out his thoughts on it. Larry, do you believe that finding good employees is just a rare find these days? You know, we look at so many different businesses are just struggling to get good people in there to fulfill these roles that were lost through the whole quarantine shutdown of America.
You know, I don't know whether I have a definitive answer on that. I think it just depends on the area that you're located at. You know, the thing about the thing about the industry as it relates to COVID is that everybody has to be a little bit more creative with regards to what they're offering, and also how much they're willing to compensate for top talent, or for good talent, for decent talent. I'm running into the issue right now with regards to some of the investments that I have right now. Like I just attempted to hire someone, and I found out that the rate that I was paying was too low for the quality of an individual I wanted. And so I think the talent is out there. I think that people as it relates to COVID are really taking time to reflect on their value, on what matters most in life, and that's creating opportunities for companies to ask themselves, how can we what more can we offer for stable and gifted individuals? So I think you're always, long story short, I think you're always gonna have a market. I think there's always gonna be a talented individual out there. I just don't think that the companies have adjusted to making sure that they have the offerings to recruit and maintain that talent. So
true enough. We do know you do have to pay me to make sure that you're gonna get that correct compensation. So Dash DB, speaking of payment, we want to know from you. Do you believe that the minimum wage should stand at $15 an hour at this time?
Should stand at $15. I mean, I do. Basically because inflation, everything else has gone up, but the minimum wage has stayed the same. So I mean, if you're going to try and stay in touch with inflation, I mean, you can look at the way prices are right now, man. We were just talking about houses and how those are being overpriced. Grocery store prices done gone up. Everything's done gone up. You can't get a car now. They overpricing these cars because of the supply chain that's all messed up. True. So I believe yeah, it should be at $15. And I know that small businesses, and I'm a small business, a lot of them want to push back. They say, hey, that's going to put us out of business. Well, that to me, that tells me for some of you guys have failed to update what you're doing and failed to move with the times. You're still thinking that you can get $7.25 and that's the basis of your survival. Then you got more that you need to do as far as expanding upon your business, offering more things, and being of more value. If you can provide more value to your customers, then you should be able to afford the $15, bare minimum. I got interns now. I'm not, I'm starting at 15. I'm not starting no less than that. So it's not about me saying, oh yeah, you should do this. I am doing this. And I have to figure out a way to make sure that I'm providing enough value and that I'm able to get the money that I need so that I can support that. I mean, anything less than that, you setting people up to fail out there. Prices is too high. What was homie in New York said? Rent too high. Wasn't that the party he was from? Rent too high. I'm with you.
True. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Stan, I want to ask you the same question. But when we look at it, there are nursing assistants out there, and there's different other occupations like that. That if you're telling me that the person that's working at Wendy's is making $15 an hour, the nursing assistant that's taking care of your loved one in the hospital settings and whatnot, they're not making that much more than that. How do we compensate the people then who are having maybe more critical work? How do we then compensate those people?
Well, I think it would fall under like, what do you like to do? Not everybody wants to work at Wendy's, and you might find value of your work as an employee of a hospital. Like, I couldn't do CNA work. That was just like a personal choice. I was like, oh, they told me what it entailed. I was like, no, I'm good. But then there was like girls in my school that were like, yeah, I'm going to be a CNA. And I'm going to get an apartment and an Ultima. Like, I was like, what? I can't do that. But I think it was like a gender role specific thing to me. But I get it. Like, if they want to be a nurse or they want to get into like a field like that, and they want to be around that type of environment, you get a job in that environment. Now, if it lowers the minimum wage, it shouldn't or we hire the minimum wage, it should just make it, I could go into a different field and not have to take a pay cut. Like, I should know that I just posted it, making $15 an hour is $600 a week, $1,200 bi-weekly. If I went to go rent a house, I went to go rent something, right? I'm trying to sell my house, rent. Like, rent is like $2,400 a month. I was like, this is stupid. To rent is like $2,000 a month. I remember I wasn't paying rent not too long ago. There wasn't no 2,000. Rent went up.
Yeah.
Like, how do you survive if you're not making $15 an hour at this point? Like, you should be able to be a slave to your thing, to like, buying groceries off of a fast food. You should be able to buy you should be able to get a studio apartment.
Right.
But if you can't, then there's something off. And there's something off with, like, if the person with no education can't be able to pay for the rent for a studio apartment off of any job that they could get without a GED, then we're going to have problems in this country. What's that person going to do? And I'm not saying it from, I went to college perspective. There's no hierarchy here. You go in the direction you want to go.
Right.
That's how I feel about that.
Okay. Fair enough. We appreciate your thoughts on that. Larry, I want to just get your thoughts on it as well. Should the minimum wage stand at $15 an hour in your opinion? Or, I mean, when we compare that to some other jobs that's equivalent to that dollar amount, we look at it and we like, well, then do we then up the wages on some of those other jobs that's equivalent to that wage?
Yeah, I think the market is going to really narrate how that gets adjusted, and there's going to be some winners and there's going to be some losers in the market with regards to employers. I think that it should. I think that it should be at that, and I think that companies are going to have to look at the overall profit that they make off these other industries. Like you talk about CNAs, those individuals those companies make tons of money off those individuals at that rate. That's those facts. My wife particularly works in the industry, in the hospice industry, where they're recruiting nurses, CNAs, for example, and they had to pay. If they wanted individuals to work for them, they had to increase pay, and they were willing to do so. Why? Because they make so much money off of them, especially in those industries. The question really is the money there in order for that to take place? And absolutely, the money is there. Let's get into lies. The CEOs are getting paid more, and the employees are getting paid less. And in order for there to be balance with regards to inflation and increased costs, somebody's going to say, okay, maybe we should consider making less money in order to have more quality. And I think, in a capitalist society, the market will eventually narrate that. And I think COVID, with regards to essential workers being not only CNAs, but also the people that work at Hy-Vee and all these other industries where people had to go into, I think it's good. I'm very hopeful of a dramatic shift, with regards to us identifying, or having more of a appreciation of solidarity for individuals who work in these industries that that a lot of people don't want to work in, for lack of a better word, like a better statement. So yeah.
Okay, respect your thoughts on that. Thank you, Larry. Dash Dub, I want to ask for you: has adding the government stimulus checks helped or hurt our economy, in your opinion?
Oh man, I mean, not to straddle the fence, but I think it's done both, to be honest, and it depends who it is. So, an instance, it's helped the economy. I mean, government's been doing this for years. We give consumers money because consumers are going to flip it over and give it right back to us in some way, shape, or form. Whether you're going to go buy a car, clothes, jewelry, house, whatever it is, they
Right.
put it out because they know that it's coming back. Problem is how it's also hurt the economy, and we saw this at the end of the Trump era. Is that the Lakers could apply to get a business loan to get money, and they get it.
Right.
I'm like, so the distribution of what you tried to do hurt you in certain ways for whatever reason. So we know that in some cases that they didn't have people to oversee where some of that money was going. So it was going to people that didn't need it, and then you have some minority-owned businesses that are looking to get the money, that need the money, but have to rely upon a bank to try to get that money, and they wasn't able to get it for whatever reason. Right. Because certain I's weren't dotted, certain T's weren't crossed or whatever. But it's not that the need wasn't there. It was a logistical thing. So everybody that should have gotten money didn't get money. So I can't sit up here and say that, oh man, this was a great thing and they just showered people with money, when some people that did need it got it and others people that did need it did not. So it comes down to, for me, it came down to the process. So yes, that's why I'm on the fence. Did it help? Yeah, it helped for some people, but it also hurt some people. And the other thing we got to look at is what's going to be the long-term impact of you flooding all these folks with money. Because there's going to be a lot of adverse things that are going to happen because you flooding that market with money. Inflation could be one of those. Now, we don't know if that's going to be temporary or permanent. That may be permanent. Right. We know that some costs have gone up and come back down, like with housing and things like that, where wood went way up and then it came back down. Or we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. The supply chain is crazy messed up right now.
Right.
Like I'm in pro audio studio stuff. I'll be trying to get a mic. I'll be trying to get some live stream equipment. I gotta wait 3, 4, 5 months. They're like, it's just not in stock. Yeah. So there's a lot of things that have been messed up, even though the market's been flooded. And PPP loans, man, there's gonna be a fallout of that because we know people got some of the PPP loans that were fraudulent. So what does that mean? And that may disproportionately affect a certain group as well when the feds come after that and track that money. True. Because process again. Are the right people getting the money? You don't even know. You just giving money. So, sometimes it's going to hit and sometimes it's going to miss. And that's kind of how I feel about it.
Okay, fair enough. Like we do see that, that, like you said, the production in some companies have been down. But then again, like we're talking about here, a lot of times that's due to employment and getting people to fill those roles and those jobs to make the production lines improve and go back to business like they used to be before the COVID shutdown. So, Larry, I want to ask from you, we like I said, we did see that a lot of people are getting these stimulus checks and whatnot now, but because of some of these stimulus checks and some of these bonuses that they gotten from unemployment and whatnot, they are a little bit hesitant to come back to work because they're getting paid additional monies and whatnot uh, in some circumstances. Do you feel like the additional adding the government stimulus checks have now helped or hurt our economy, in your opinion?
You know, I like I like to think I'm a textbook capitalist. So I think that I, I I'm all about the that things are going to happen in the economy that are out of our control, and that the market at the end of the day is going to determine whether it's a good fit or not. That's my personal opinion. And so I agree with Dash Dub to a degree. I mean, there's pros and cons of just about everything. I think I think that money being pushed in the economy is probably doing more good than harm.
Okay.
With regards to creating opportunities to spend, even though individuals are sitting out, again, it's giving companies opportunities to rethink how they recruit and maintain, how they recruit, maintain, keep, quality individuals. I think that everybody's going through some life shifts and reconsidering what's valuable in their life, and and the individuals that's going to be valuable for us. There's still a strong market of individuals who want to work at these places. At different. I don't want to say these places, but you get what I'm saying.
Right.
There's still a large market of people that want to work at McDonald's. They want to work at Hy-Vee. They want to work at Walmart. Like I don't think you're getting rid of. I don't think you're getting rid of it, but I do think there's probably going to be less of it. But I think that as we get there goes into a conversation about technology, how technology is going to help shift a lot of things, and those who adapt to that technology are going to come out the winners. The companies that adapt to that technology are going to come out the winners, right? Like right now, Walmart's got those self checkouts. How
Yeah.
long before McDonald's, or how long before Wendy's, starts having more automated systems, right? So, um, you know, again, I think the market at the end of the day, and innovation in particular, is going to help make the most out of whatever balance needs to be made. So I think it's a
Okay.
good thing. Long story short, answer the question.
That's very interesting. He stated that. But once again, it's like those are jobs lost. And once technology takes over, though, those baggers and those checkers and the people that
There,
checked
but
you out, that's a job lost now.
but they're create but you have to understand that people have to figure out where those industries are now being created at. Where it's low in one area, there's a rise in another area. You never gonna get rid of uh, human connection and the demand for human connection and point to point contact with human beings. Like you're never gonna get rid of that to a degree. You're always gonna need that to a degree. Or where it's just it's one of those things where we have to where individuals have to ask themselves, how do I reinvent myself? How do I re-educate myself so that I'm ready for what's next? And a lot of people are going to get caught up. But I mean, and sorry, not to be long story short, but any type of major shift in, as far as like the industrial revolution, all these shifts here, you're going to have that, and everybody has to sort of adapt to what's new. Anyway, I'm gonna jump off that.
Okay, fair enough. We thank you for your thoughts on that, Larry. All
Yeah.
right, Stan, I want to come to you next. I want to ask, are increased wages enough motivation to maintain staff, in your opinion?
Well, it goes off of that, the money printing, and then it goes off of, well, yeah, to a point. Like my niece was working at I forget the Panera Bread.
You're right.
She's making like $15 an hour.
Yeah.
Because she's getting, what is it, hazard pay? Because she's working during the coronavirus, so they pay the part-time workers more money because they're getting paid for having part-time workers for the pandemic.
Right.
So yeah, she's happy. And my cousin never had a job in his life, and This dude is hitting me up. Hey, Stan, I got some business ideas. I got some money from these unemployment checks. I'm like, I'm over here like, how's this dude hitting me up with, hey, yo, I got some financial advice. I'm like, bro, you've been broke my whole life. He got unemployment checks. All of a sudden, he became an entrepreneur on the internet. I was mad. I was like, dude, if you don't shut up and give me back all the money you owe me, like, you owe me money, bro. Don't be getting over here talking about I know how to flip $100 into 1,000. Anyway, what was the question again? Still mad at you, Mondo.
Yeah,
still mad at you.
I see he's still tight about that. I see it.
Tight. You robbed me for real money, and then you're trying to be like, hey, you want to start a business together? Don't laugh. Real money. Like, I wanted that money at one time. One time he robbed me for $20 was $1 million to me. You know, $20 would have filled up my tank and got us some food for the whole car.
Let it out.
We respect.
$20 then. It's like $100 now.
It's your money, right? You owe you. All right, so we want to know from Dash Dub. I want to know, are increased wages enough motivation to maintain staff, in your opinion?
I mean, kind of like Stan said. I mean, he went off on something else, but he hit it on the point right in the beginning, though. Like, up to a certain point. And, you know, I can look in my industry, especially dealing with kids, like, and especially with the podcast we just did, you know, talking about the achievement gap. Like, for people to get into the industry, especially with kids, you do need some sort of incentive, which increased wages can be that. The problem in most cases is that they're there for the wrong reasons. So longevity, as far as in being in that position, is sometimes not there because they aren't there to chase the dollar. But as soon as it gets difficult, then it's like, yeah, I don't want to do this. So in certain industries, I'm not saying all, but I'm really taking the perspective of industries, you know, dealing with kids and community centers and things like that. Yeah, the increased wage is motivation to get them there, but it's not motivation enough to keep them there because it's not a good fit in most cases.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so Larry, I want to know from you, do you think that most businesses appreciate their employees as they should?
No, that's a definitive no.
Why is that?
That's it. Just some companies do. I mean, I guess I think that's just I don't know about anybody else. That's just the way of the world is seen. I've seen one circumstance where I say, man, this person is lucky to be at this job. I've seen like one circumstance where I was like, man, their boss overpaid them. I'm talking about unlimited vacation, pretty much. Yeah, it's it's a real slick. It's like unlimited quote unquote vacation. But but for the rest of us, we got to deal with the good and the bad that come along with working in the industry, and there being that disconnect. And I just think there's a major disconnect. I mean, that's part of my point with regards to saying that it's the employers that are going to be creative and figure out how to add value, i.e. what we're talking about. Those are the ones that are going to end up thriving in the industry and even have the longevity and sustainability that's needed to be competitive in the next 5 years. And those who don't understand that, finding individuals who are passionate, and not only that, but creating a department that is related to making sure that those individuals are happy with their jobs. Companies are going to have to be more creative, not in compensation alone, but in creating value. And I think creating value is way, that's a whole nother conversation with regards to what's more important. Is it more important to pay an individual, or is it more important to find somebody who's passionate and wants growth in that area and exchange that, for something? So I think innovative companies are having those type of conversations but on the surface, you know, um, yeah. But anyway, to answer your question, no, no, but that's I went off my stand ran a little bit. I got a little pissed too, Stan. I was
All
trying to,
good.
I was trying to jib
I
up.
approve.
That happens.
Yo, can I add to
understand.
something he said though?
Yeah, please do.
So like with the millennial generation and stuff, I think to what he said is even more important. That it's going to be more about value. The younger generation is far more about experience, far more about the experience of being in something over the flat out what you're paying me. This is also a generation that doesn't have a need for like physical items like our generation does. There's not that relationship to have things and items. It's
Right.
it's far more about the vibe and the experience and anything else. I can see it with the cats that even come to the studio. It's more about that than me getting in here and getting the stuff done because I'm on the clock. Nah, it's about the vibe. It's about everything else that's going on around me. Do I feel comfortable? All those other things. They're just not as attached to physical stuff like we are. So companies are going to have to change along with the people that are changing. They're going to have to. Their employers have now changed and evolved in a different way, and they got to make sure they tap into that.
No, you're 100% correct on that. We do see a lot of time in the younger generations, getting that fancy whip isn't as important to them because they can always just take an Uber, or getting that big house isn't a thing because they can rent a place, So you're right. They definitely are into attaching to the physical items like, generations of myself and older. Stan, I need to know from you. I'm gonna ask the same question here though. I want to know, when we're looking at the employers though, do you really feel like most companies are just looking at us as employee 321-687, or or do you feel like there's really some genuine?
Even if you're making a lot of money. Like I know people that make $250,000 a year and they get memos. They're like, get more work done, go quicker, be more efficient. It's not like you get paid a certain amount of money and then they start respecting you more. You don't get respect from somebody paying you. Does that make sense?
Can you say that again?
I said you don't get respect from people who are paying you.
You hear that, boys and girls? Okay.
Like if I'm paying you, I'm not respecting you. I'm hoping that you do as much work as possible so that I can do less work. Or they're trying to like I understand the meta. Like no, they don't respect you. They just want to get there's a job filled for employment hired to get the job done for the day, the week, the project, the month, the industry. Unless you own your business or unless you're working with somebody who owns their business and you have a direct relationship with the employer, a direct relationship, like you could call him when you're not at work, then no, he doesn't value you. You're never going to go up a bureaucracy chain and become more valuable to an employer. Does that make sense?
Most
it's never going to happen. I've never worked a job that the guy that I met people in the low end and then all of a sudden I was friends with the manager. Like, no, like I looked at everybody's teeth. I'm like, we have a shitty dental plan. I could tell. You know what I mean? Like I would look around for things that I wanted for myself. Like, I would look at the parking lot. If I went to the parking lot and I had a better car than somebody, then I'm fucking up. I'm in the wrong place. Like if I go into the park, if I go to the job and in an interview, the guy smiles and my teeth are better than his teeth. I take note of these little things for my. You were saying like my kid's 16. He wants to get a job. I would refuse to let him get a job. I'm like, look, get straight A's. I'll pay you to get straight A's. I'd rather pay you to get straight A's than to pay you to go get a job right now. Unless you're looking for vagina, I don't think that you should be working right now. I told him that. I'm like, do it to like have fun and meet people and have friends. Tell me you want to do it for that, but don't tell me you want to do it for the money. Because we can make more money right now. I can show you how to make money. If you're willing to sacrifice, I'll show you how to. You'll be rich compared to your friends. What I could show you, but if you want to make more friends, I understand that point from the 60s. But now, if you're older, we have to make the decision. Like, why are we wanting to have somebody control our money? Hey, I don't like what you're doing today. You're fired.
Mm-hmm.
Like if terminations on the board, I understand unions. Unions make it where you have a better relationship with your employer because you have a union rep that will make sure, like, if they will fight for your rights as an employee. Understand those jobs. Unions are good in that regard. But if you get fired on a Tuesday for something you did on Saturday, you're like, Craig, how did you get fired on your day off? You know what I mean? So
and they make you come in too, work the whole day, and then they fire you.
Yeah, I've been done real dirty. They switched my schedule without telling me. I came in on my schedule and got fired.
Say, Stan, can you come to the office?
I can tell you every time I've been fired. It's really in every bill. It's me. I'm all fresh. Look like I just took a shower. I'm fresh. I added my accessories to my uniform to be better than the person next to me. Like, oh, I look good today, right? Okay. I walk in, hey, Stan, you're fired. I'm like, what? I prepped for like 2 hours for this. Like, I'm ready to mingle. And then I get there, they're like, they don't even let me come. I'm like coming off the parking lot, you're fired. I'm like, oh, what? They go home. I never got pulled into the office. Let me talk to you. I never got one of those. It's usually like, hey, you don't work here anymore. Like, even like the person in front of me knows. Like, I'm walking up past the registers, you're fired. I was like, what are you doing here, Stan? These people with brand new jobs looking at me like, what are you doing? You don't work here.
Your badge just don't work no more.
Oh, like, that's always how it's been. I've never really got like fired.
Yeah. Okay. Well, going along with that point that you just talked about education, I want to ask Larry. Larry, do you think kids need to attend college to make good money these days?
It depends on the profession, obviously. Yeah, if people got to get real creative about what they want to do. Whether they want money or whether they want passion. And it's a great thing if you can get both, but making sure you can readily identify, what industries are going to give you one over the other. So that's my first. That's I guess my first comment. So I yes and no. A lot of these questions are pretty much yes and no. I would imagine. I don't know what I'm definitive about. It just depends on the industry that you're going into. If you're going to be an engineer. If you're going to be a doctor, if you're going into crafts that require certain credentials, and have a standard level of pay based off of that credential that is sustainable, then of course go into those industries and get educated. I mean, but even for me, you talk about education. We have to talk about the broad scope of education. Oftentimes we talk about education, we just talk about college degree, but man, let's talk about these trades where these brothers coming out, welding and construction and plumbing and electricians. Right. These are industries that don't require as much education, but give as much bang for the buck as far as the overall potential to our economy. And so, and those are easy wins, which would probably make me give you a yes across the board. Everybody should be educated, have some type of degree, some type of certification, or something in some type of industry, hands-on industry. Like if I was to give advice to a kid, I was like, man, go to a 2-year school and go get a trades degree, and then if you decide you want to get creative or you want to be an artist, then go and get your extended degree, in college and stuff like that. But go get a trades degree. Start out there because you'll never lose with that. No matter what industry, you can always fall back on things. And I'm a huge fan of not only entrepreneurship, but I'm a huge fan of having more eggs in your basket. In other words, work, get a job, make investments, do all of the above, and then eventually the lane that's best for you is going to end up playing out the way if you play it like that. If that makes any sense, rather than putting all your eggs in one basket. So I'm not a fan of putting all. I'm not a fan of just getting an education. In and of itself.
Just one lane. Okay.
Yeah, I'm like have more than one egg in one basket, and then life will tell you whether you can go, where the yes points are with regards to your purpose and where you're supposed to be at. So hopefully I answered that question properly.
Respect on that. Dashed Up, we know that you work with a lot of youth and your fields that you work with a lot of youngsters and such. And we want to know from you, do you feel like the lane for college is the move to make good money in 2021 and forward?
I actually just had this conversation in my studio 3 days ago.
Oh, perfect.
Had a young artist come through and was talking about going to school. And after I told her what I told her, I was like, don't have your mama or grandma come in here. Why you tell my child not to go to college? Like, I didn't say that. But I put it out like this. I'm like, it is industry based because sometimes higher education is needed because you need certain information to be able to do your job. You need certain information and skills to be able to do it for certain professions. In general, if I was to give it like a general answer, I said, for me, college was mainly learning time management. Mm-hmm. I'm like, it was a lot of that. Did it give me some specifics? Most of it didn't apply. You already know we went into business together. Mm-hmm. I didn't get no training for how to start a small music label.
Right.
But by me jumping in, I gained all these skill sets that I wouldn't have gained by just having one focus of I'm majoring in this. When I get out, then I'm going to do this, and I'm going to continue to do that. I struggle and fall on my face plenty times, but it gave me actually more options of different things I can do and pivot to, which is evidence of where I am today. So for me, college was more time management than anything, but that's my experience. It doesn't necessarily have to be the other person's experience. I do think the other thing that's different now is the internet. The internet has leveled some playing fields in certain industries because you can go and get that information in a number of different ways now. It is not going to the library, going to the hard catalog, figuring out where the book is you was interested in, going and finding the book, and then grabbing and written it for a little bit and be, oh man, I got to take these books back to the library. It ain't that. These kids got phones. They could be learning all day, every day. If you just try to make money, there's a multitude of ways to make money, and you ain't got to even touch a college campus. Multitude. So is it necessary? Do you still need to? No, I don't think you need to per se. But that is dependent on industry. But I think the emphasis on college and the need for college should be less. It's really on a case-by-case basis. I'm not going to tell my boys not to go to college. I got to take it on a case-by-case basis. What are you trying to do? Mm-hmm. Where are you? Can you actually manage your time? Can you discipline yourself to learn the things that you need and go get that experience? Some people can't be disciplined. And the same thing I told her, I'm like, for cats that don't got time management and don't have discipline, they may need something. They may need some more structure. But not every 18-year-old needs that structure. Mm-hmm. Some of them are ready. And they just really need the vision and just a little boost in a direction. And they can do it.
Right. Give them the opportunity. Yeah, I think we definitely agree. And you hit on something with that, Dashed Up. I'm gonna switch lanes here. I'm gonna go to Stan. I want to know from you, Stan. Do you think that America can recover from the economic shutdown from the coronavirus pandemic, in your opinion?
I think the industries that recovered already recovered. I feel like you were talking about the lumber earlier. That wasn't, we didn't have a shortage of lumber. This is what they did. What they did was they cut everything up, they stockpiled it because their input per 2x4 went up if they didn't sell it. So if I don't sell it, the price goes up. So when the price goes up to a certain point or my stockpile hits a certain whatever, then I'm going to start selling my stockpile off and it's going to be worth more than when I originally cut it. So it's not that they are not, I don't think we had a system shut down at all. I think that they just started holding things back. And then we have inflation. We printed 22% of the money supply in the last year. That's going to okay. What was it when we had the last inflation? It was like I think it was like World War II or something like that, World War One. If you talk to these older people, what they're going to tell you, okay, you have to like talk to your grandma. So your grandma knows about what was the pandemic that they went through? It was like polio. It wasn't polio, it was tuberculosis. And it happened in Milwaukee. And all over the world, but like Milwaukee hit it. My grandma's from Milwaukee. She was a nurse at Freighter. She told me, I was like, well, can you tell me about when you were a kid? She goes, we want to know something about coronavirus. It's just like tuberculosis. Mm-hmm. She goes, what I noticed that went up in price was bread. The cost of bread. The first things that started going up in price for inflation, like in Germany, it was like bread went up, milk went up, these essentials went up. And then they started printing more money to handle those essential costs because you still need to have enough money to buy bread and milk. And then they started printing money to handle that. And then it got out of control. They overprinted money and then inflation hit. So we are not going to really, I mean, you have to really look at the cost of bread right now. The cost of groceries went up.
Right.
In general, right? So now we are going to feel the pain of that. And then they're going to try to compensate that, and they're going to try to ride that pony. And then either we're going to have to replace the vehicle we're driving in, or we're going to break the wheels. And that's inflation. That's overprinting. So we're not going to really know. Plus, we're dealing with a more global economy. When we were dealing with inflation, like when you say inflation, I think that when I take inflation in, I take it as like World War II. I take it as we're going to save. We're going to just, we're going to eat lean. We're going to eat canned beans. That's what I think inflation is. Like, we're going to go into the recession and we're going to have to buckle down. So that's the first thing I did during this pandemic. I was like, look, I learned how to cook better. I started, because I'm thinking inflation. But I think inflation's a little weird now because what economies went up the most?
During which time period?
The economies that went up the most were the ones that were distributing common goods, Amazon, Walmart, like the Target, these places but they're a global economy. So they're pulling in from China, they're pulling in from Australia, they're pulling in from all these different places. Right. And so we don't know, like our inflation is now not like localized like it used to be before. Because our corn now is getting distributed somewhere else. And because our dollar has shrunk in value because of inflation shrinks our dollar's value, right? Add more money, dollar goes in less value. Now, now you have to think about like other places. Like Germany now it's like, ooh, the dollar's low. Let me go get a Honda. Let me go get a Chevrolet because now it's cheaper to get that Chevrolet over here. Now I can buy a fleet of Chevrolets, bring them to Germany and sell them American made because now the dollar's cheaper. It's going to be tough to understand what inflation is going to do yet. We're going to have to look at bread. We're going to have to look at lumber. We're going to have to look at some of these industries that control how we manage and we're spending. Like if you're going to buy a house, houses went up 20%.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Milk's going up a certain amount. Rent's going up. Do we print ourselves out of that situation? Or do we have to wait for these other countries to give us the money back?
Well, let me ask you something, Stan, to piggyback off of that. Do you feel like the coin-based industry is going to maybe help counterbalance some of that?
Nah. I mean, it's going to help the people that are invested. I mean, if you're investing your money, period, and you're able, okay, so let's take investing. You're saying investing because you're not saying Coinbase, you're not saying crypto, you're saying investing. If you invest your money, will you make more money? Absolutely. 100% of the time. If you can keep your money invested, you're going to make money. Now, if you put your money into investment and you lose money in a year and you can't handle that, then you can't make money because you have to move your funds from your investment portfolio into your milk money. You're going to have to separate your milk money from your save money. Now, if you could do that, you're going to make money. You're going to walk out of this. You're going to walk out of this scenario with a better principle to your overall balance in life, your real money. Right. But if you're over here paycheck to paycheck, and that's where I think like it hit the people the hardest. The people like my sister, who I don't even know what that was. That sounded horrible. Sounded like something broke in my washing machine, but we'll worry about that later. So that was actually like a monster scary. Like, what the hell? But I started running because I'm black.
As long as they don't start shooting.
Yeah. So no. If you could hold that money, you're going to make money out of this. You're going to walk out of this. Everything. Put it this way: if you invested $1 2 years ago, it went up to $5 right now. Every dollar I invested 2 years ago, it went up like about $5. Every dollar went up about 500% because inflation. Mm-hmm. But I was able to hold my dollar in, not my milk money, so that when inflation hit, it just took my investment money and it rose it. Now, if it crashes, I don't care. I'm up. But if I am, again, go back into the milk money thing, if I'm using my milk money and I need my milk money, you can't invest out of your milk money. How do you do this? Not everybody's in that position. Like, not everybody has a house. Not everybody can just, not everybody's smart enough to pool their money. Like, I've been trying to get my family members to I'm like, hey, you're going to have to think about money differently during this pandemic so that we could get out of this in a good way. Mm-hmm. Not everybody got that. And again, if you're a slave to your job and you're not making enough money, you can invest. So there's a whole group of people that are getting poorer. And there's a whole group of people that got a lot more money. Amazon, 20 billion or something like that, $40 billion in a quarter. Right. Tesla, Target, Walmart, these Alibaba, all these things that are keeping our economy afloat, they're making more money. And then the lower half are going, this is what happened. This is real. They made more money. These people made less money.
That separation, that gap is even wider now. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You definitely hit on something with that.
I feel like with the coronavirus, they wanted people to die.
That's that part. That's a whole nother subject.
No, I'm saying I think they did. I think they wanted other people to die so that there was more money available to the people that were alive. They handled it very poorly.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
We respect
and then the people that were able to work and survive, they're that's good. We'll just keep those guys. It's ridiculous.
Okay. Respect your thoughts on that, Stan. Thank you. Larry, I want to ask you the last question here. What are some of the best fields to get into these days, in your opinion, when it comes to employment? If you were to suggest to a young person nowadays, your daughter there that you're with, in the future, you want to talk to her about, maybe getting into occupation. What are some of the best fields you would advocate to her to get into nowadays?
First, let me address Stan. Stan, I believe that theory you're talking about is called the Thanos theory. That we're talking about.
That's what they did. They were like,
just a snap. Yep.
Die. No, anyways. All right.
Get those stones.
And I agree with Stan 100%. I'm pretty sure a lot of people taking advantage, really predicting mortality and seeing that as an inevitable advantage in certain industries. Anyways, I'm gonna deflect from that. I I don't know. That's a I think Dash said it best. It's a case by case basis. Identifying what a person is, what a person wants to do. If my now I am I am, and I think most of us in this group can sort of that's an attraction point as far as entrepreneurship. I am a textbook entrepreneur. At heart. I take advantage of my degree with regards to it being my base point, but I have my entrepreneurial efforts on real estate. I've got my little private practice business. I've got this other side business that I'm going to start with a good friend of mine that are so the advice that I would give anybody is make sure that you create your own economy of and have I think the future really is in everybody, especially with the internet. The fact that you got a whole library, you got a whole economic. What I think what a lot of kids are missing out on is the fact that you got a whole money generating machine in the palm of your hands. The fact that we have unlimited access to information. That if I want to learn how to do something, if I want to learn how to invest, if I want to learn how to build business credit. If I want to learn how to, do, this, I can learn it on a YouTube channel, let alone written information. You hear me? Somebody that's going to take me visually step by step. And I think self entrepreneurship and uniqueness in a globe, and not only that, but the fact that you got the one thing that I definitely teach my kids is that you have the global economy in the palm of your hands. I think that is such an unrealized type of perspective that our kids of this generation have still yet missed. I think it's missed a lot of heads, and I think that that's going to be the ongoing conversation as far as what you is starting from that base, and then asking yourself what value. Sometimes you start out with the entrepreneurial base, and then you find out you can add more value to a greater whole, or that might be part of your personality type. Not everybody's personality type is meant to be an entrepreneur. Overall, not everybody's meant to be a textbook entrepreneur, but I think everybody should understand that we're always marketing ourselves. There's certain elements of business fundamentals we are doing irregardless. You should be doing irregardless of whether you work for yourself or somebody else. So that's and Mario, I'm second generation entrepreneur. So that's the straight advice I'm giving my kids is learn how to be an entrepreneur self. And then grow from that point. And it may lead you to education. It may lead you to extended education depending on your interest. It may lead you to adding to, I got a good friend of mine, he didn't get a college education, but he's stuck in one industry and he dang near CEO of the company. There's there are multiple avenues. What's that?
That's a good position to be in.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking. I want to put no names out there, but you know what I'm talking about. What y'all doing this thing out there? But for me, I'm really trying to get my kids on a mentality shift. And anybody I really come in contact with, I just start with the main premise that you have a money-making global education center in the palm of your hands, and to make sure that you don't just use it for entertainment. And I think this generation doesn't get that yet, and hopefully the next generation actually gets it. We think they get it, but the people that we see on YouTube, as far as YouTube influencers, that represents a small portion of the kids out here. The majority of kids out here, they're using these. They're the ones, giving the, being influenced. They really don't get that. And if I was to tell a kid that, I'd be like, understand that by the time, before you turn 18, you could rent your car out on what's that thing? You could get an apartment and Airbnb it. The internet has created and the applications that are presented right now that are standard, are going to be able to create so many opportunities, even on a local level, that it's going to be ridiculous 5 and 10 years down the road to see a kid who's broke. Like, you broke, it's because you chose to be broke. Because the online industry has created these multiple avenues. Well, all you got to do is, make sure you have decent credit. But even then, there's still opportunity to create and make money and to create value and purpose out here. So my answer, my fixed answer is I'm trying to my thoughts are education, entrepreneurship from the palm of your hands, and then using that as a starting point, for the individual. I butchered that last part there, but you get what I'm saying.
We get you. We thank you, and we thank all of the speakers here.
Yeah, I like to add on that.
Go ahead.
I'll give my advice to my kids out.
Yeah.
So this is the thing. Like, if none of my kids can make money by the time they're 18 on their own,
right?
Like, I'm here, like, here, I'll give you $500. Make that $600. I'll give you $100. Make it $120. Yeah. Like, are you able to discipline yourself? Like, I have 4 kids. I'll be honest with you. Not all of them are going to be entrepreneurs. Right. Some of them are too goddamn lazy. Some of them need to be told what to do because they just have a mentality. They don't want to listen to me. They're going to listen to somebody else, and they're going to be a slave for the rest of their life. Some of them are like, oh, I like you, Dad, and I understand what you're doing. Let me go work with you. They're going to get paid. I'm just like, you know what I mean? Like, some of them want to go to college. There's like, okay, so I could be 100% real, right?
Yeah, this is what we're here for. This is the real.
Don't call your kids stupid.
Say that. You said that. You say that. All right, cool. So there's four different options.
Let's keep it legal though. Let's keep it legal. Yeah. Okay. Okay, go ahead.
There's the entrepreneur that I'm not going to make go to school because they learn how to make money because they got it, trade. There's the one who doesn't want to get good grades. And I'm not talking about him last. No. So there's the one that gets really good grades. It's just going to be the you don't want the A+ student to be the entrepreneur because they're really good at learning, so they could go to higher education. You got the person that doesn't want to do none of that. That's just like not motivated because of every kid it's marketed to. And they're not marketing education to these kids. Think about the rappers they're listening to. Think of the music they're listening to. Everything is do drugs, commit suicide, have fun, but do Molly at the same time. Like, they have these really weird marketing ploys to them, and it's like global. They don't care what skin color. They're just gonna give you drugs. And then there's the absolute burnouts. So the burnout gets the baseball bat. Like, that's the person that I have to get my hands onto that person and be like, look, I'm not gonna allow you to become that person. And we have those are the crackheads in our family, the heroin addicts. We know who they are. We grew up with them. We watch them do it. Those people needs a group of people. My whole family attacks that person. Entrepreneurs, if they're able to make money early, they get to make the decision if they go to college or not. The ones who get good grades, I'm gonna allow them to go to college, like on their free will. The one who doesn't get good grades and is not making money, I'm going to have to be different with them because they're being influenced by their peer group. And then the person that went on the lowest rung of the ladder and has my disease in my family. Yeah, I'm going to have to deal with that person a lot differently. But I see it like that. To me, it's not just every kid's going to be great. Some of these kids are going to try to do drugs. Some of these kids are going to try to commit. Like, I've had these conversations with the peer group of my kids' friends. Like, I hop on the phone when they're on Discord. I hop on whatever, and I talk to them, even if it embarrasses my kid, just to see how they're talking, just to see their influences, because that's going to be more destructive to the kid than me saying, I could give you a Ferrari. And you could have all the friends in the world and you could have all the attention in the world, but you can't maintain it. So my kids, they're like, why are we doing chores? I'm like, you ain't doing chores for me. This is your house. I'm like, when you get older, you're not going to have a house.
Right.
Like, who's maintaining your house? This is your house. When I die, it's not mine. I don't want it. I don't want this house. I'm giving you this house. This is you, your brothers and your sisters. Take the house, maintain it, make sure it keeps value, know how to maintain it so that when you do sell it and you get into your own house, you have the ability to even make money off of the asset I gave you. I know I have friends that when their dad died, they completely blew off the money on girls and drugs, and we had a great time for like 3 months. It was like a great 3 months living off of some dude's dad's money that he inherited, and then we went back to being regular friends. I'm still friends with him, but we had a good run for 3 months.
So you used them.
I don't know. He was look. He was spending money every day. I was with him. I'm like, no, I'm gonna make sure you're good.
Just there.
I maintain you. We can drink together. We go home together. We make sure you're good.
You
and none of my friends got messed up over that situation. You know what I mean? There's that type of like understanding. You have to teach your kids how to not, when they get a windfall or they get those opportunities to make more money, or they have a lump sum of money, what do they do with it? Like these kids don't all think the same. So I understand. Like to my kids, some of them are gonna get a baseball bat for sure. Some of them are gonna be able to pick their path. But I'm looking at all of them like, which one's gonna do drugs? Because I don't know.
Yep.
Like I watched my nieces. I'm younger than my nieces or than my cousins. So I watch my cousins be born, my little cousins be born and go into drugs. I watched it happen, throw their whole future away. So I was taking notes. I was like, okay, good. You fuck up, I'm gonna fix that. I'm not gonna let that happen. Like, I'm gonna what was it? This is my last point, and I'm done. What was it? Who was it? It was not Teddy Riley, Quincy Jones. Quincy Jones's son was on heroin, and what he did was kidnapped his son and got him off of heroin. That's a father's duty to their son to get, and now his son is better. You know what I mean? His son is now successful, but he needed that intervention. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm scared about. It's not. You're saying that there's all these opportunities in your phone. That is nothing if the person that you like to hang out with smokes weed and likes to party. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like I had somebody ask me, "You like to party?" I thought we were partying. Like, what are you talking about? There's another party? Yeah, it's in my pocket. I was like, what? You know what I mean? Like, if you get into those situations, it's not that hard for somebody that you like to derail you.
Right. Yeah. I definitely understand where you're coming from, Stan, and I think you can't be no more realer when you talk about kids of this generation and how the focus just really has to be there. And I think Dash is also correct that there's so many more opportunities for them than maybe us who didn't have this right away in our hands to be able to just make these opportunities in an instant. So, but I thank everybody for tuning in today. We are out of time. I do appreciate my panel for joining the program. Please reach out to Larry, Stan, Dash. We thank you, everybody, for joining the program. Until next time, y'all, I'm your boy, Mizzle Jizzle. You've been listening to Radio 22's Talk 22. We out of here, y'all. Peace.